And let's talk about your boy Spider-Man, Far From Home. Now, everybody out there, and I mean everybody, there was hardly anybody out there. I mean, maybe you loved, maybe you just liked, but a lot of people out there enjoyed the hell out of Spider-Man Homecoming. You know, they finally gave us a high school Spider-Man that wasn't played by a 30-year-old. You know what? I wish I could give you all that, but you're going to have to set up on these ragged-ass T-shirts from DJMerch.com. You can go Far From Home on your own budget in that classic black teeth away logo. We have here the Great and Powerful Oz shirt. We got the many varieties of shirts there. We got that coffee cup, got that phone cover for you. Gift of choice. You know, we spread a lot of happiness around this world.
We try.
We're not able to do that without your support, which you give us lots of. We're not able to do this without you. This is the reason why we're here. And we hope to continue to do so with your subscriptions, your donations, and you can even support by listening to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, wherever it's available. Some people say, you see Spider-Man. I see Tony Stark's bitch. You know, they saying.
I don't know if anybody said that.
I've heard people say that. They said, man, you know what? That ain't Spider-Man. That is Tony Stark's little cabana boy right there.
All
you
right.
know, because without Tony Stark, what do you got? He can shoot webs, he can crawl buildings, but Tony Stark gave him that badass suit. Tony Stark gave him all those gadgets. Tony Stark gave him all the things that it takes to be a superhero. If he didn't have all that, he'd be fucking up all around the city. He'd be probably dead by this point.
He was already Spider-Man before Tony Stark got involved.
He was a dude in a jumpsuit and a beanie. You know,
but it was red and blue. So
it was red and blue. It was a dude in some pajamas who was just leaving cobwebs all over buildings. He wasn't doing shit. But once Tony got a hold of him and put him in that Stark internship program, that big brother, big sister program right there, they said, all right. Now that's when he became Spider-Man, but really he's still Tony Stark's boy. You know, he's Tony Stark's guilt trip. You know.
Okay.
Tony gone.
He gone.
Tony gone. And now Spider-Man got to go out there and fend for himself. And not only does Spider-Man have to go out there and save the world in a big mission, without Tony Stark, he has to do it in a totally different country. He has to do it over there in Europe, Martin. That ain't no big deal for a kid that's already been to space. You know, what's another country right here on Earth? He can handle that. Ain't no big deal. Let's go ahead and see if that's the case as we watch the trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home.
You gonna be the next Iron Man now?
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your jobs.
Oh, bitch, f you. You know what that cop wants to say. Look at that cop right. He like, y'all gonna let this motherfucker say this shit to me? Really, yo? But can I get my first complaint out here right now?
Go ahead.
Stop putting scenes in trailers that are not in the movie.
Right.
Did I fall asleep? Did I get snapped?
No. Honestly, when you just showed that just now, I was like, I don't remember that being in there.
Okay. Now, normally, I would be okay if it was just kind of something real short and it's a throwaway scene that I can see them having to cut for editing and for the cutting it for length or something like that. But this is a cool ass scene.
And I know.
And I was looking forward to this movie to see how that was going to work into the movie. That shit is not in there. That ain't no spoiler. That's preparing you for disappointment.
Hey, I'm kidding. Look, keep up the good work.
New world? Beck is from Earth, just not ours.
The snap tore a hole in our dimension.
You're saying there's a multiverse?
We have a job to do, and you're coming with us.
I had somebody who had seen the trailer. They asked me when I was talking to them. They said, I love that trailer, but at what point do they get into the serious drama with Spider-Man? At what point do they get some of the darker sides of Spider-Man? I just like.
No, they do right in the next movie after this one.
I said, "You're not from this earth, are you? What dimension did you come from?" No, if you were going in here expecting to see Peter Parker sit on a ledge and have a reflective moment while tears are streaming down his eyes because he's thinking about his old mentor, Tony Stark, you ain't getting that here. This is a comedy. This is a straight out comedy from the first 5 minutes. This is so much a comedy that Marvel is making fun of themselves. Within 5 minutes, they're making fun of the Avengers Endgame. Mm-hmm. That shit is still in theaters. They like, look at that dumb shit. That's Marvel saying that about themselves.
It's a weird choice to have this right after Endgame.
It is. And what one of the things that I'm looking at here with this is that in the film, this is so much a comedy. They're making fun of so many things, including themselves. Tony Stark. His body ain't even cold yet, and they are laughing at him.
Right?
they are. I'm talking about not the characters in the movie. I'm talking about Marvel. Marvel don't give a about Tony Stark. This is goofy, like Ant-Man.
Yeah, that's the whole time I'm watching. I'm thinking this is more like the Ant-Man movies.
If they actually respected Ant-Man, because Spider-Man. He gets a budget and he just gets treatment like Ant-Man never had. Uh-huh.
He gets to go on vacation for one.
Yeah, he gets to go on vacation. Y'all know Marvel don't give a fuck about Ant-Man. Ant-Man, he's like the little for Marvel. Ant-Man is like the little brother that you're forced to take to the party. You sitting up there and just like, yeah, it's my stupid little brother Ant-Man. I didn't even want him here. Part of the lighthearted nature of this movie is because we're dealing with teenagers mostly.
That's the biggest thing about it. Because I saw it as when it started off with the first movie with Homecoming, it was like, yo, we are actually making Spider-Man a teenager, and it's going to be teenagers that he's surrounded by, and it's going to be in that world. And it was like, oh, finally. And in this one, it's so much with teenagers, kids, they like. Kids really aren't all that interesting.
For one, they go places, and you can see that they don't fully respect the areas that they're in. They don't are appreciated. When they're there, they got other priorities on their mind, which is understandable. Because for one, this is as much of a teen romance comedy, a teen rom-com, as much as it is a superhero movie.
Yes.
They're about 50-50 in here. For Peter Parker, this is the first time that I really didn't want to see him be Spider-Man as much. Because I just, he really, they do get across that he just wants to be a teenager. I'm just kind of like, leave him alone, man. Let him have a good time. He's out there. He's experiencing the world for the first time. And the biggest thing is that he's interested in a girl. He
was interested in a girl last time.
But he didn't get her.
He was this close. He pretty much. If things hadn't gone weird with her dad, one thing we've learned from ththese movies is that this Spider-Man loves dark meat.
Yeah. No, you took the word right out of my mouth because I was gonna bring that up. He's more into caramel than chocolate.
Yeah.
No, I got this in my notes right now. This motherfucker, if you white, don't talk to him.
So was your grandmother black?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Shit,
I think we could be friends though.
Hell, he don't even want black girls with like average names. He want black names. Zendaya. This kid don't need all this stress. He just got back from another planet. He just got back from death. Let him have just a moment to himself. And
that's not the job.
Man, his job is to be a teenager, and he's doing his best. And it leads up to something else because that was a team up that I was looking forward to. And at this point, I'm just kind of like, man, just leave this boy alone.
Okay, here we are. Beat the rush.
Yeah, to rush out.
You look really pretty.
And therefore, I have value.
Like, goddamn, girl. He's like, not this shit. Shit. I got hashtag just for comment right now.
I tell you, man, it's a new world. You can't do that no more.
Can't say shit.
No, that's not what I meant at all. I was just...
I'm messing with you.
He like, look at him, so sad. You're like, damn, I ain't never gonna get no ass. Because of old cock blocking ass Nick Fury.
Parker, what? Sorry, not you.
Parker, leave these hoes alone. Get your ass to work. God damn. Look, he looking too like,
oh, shit. It's right there, too.
This is me speaking for myself. I think that, now this is a superhero movie, and I think it gets rom-com right more than actual romance movies or romantic comedy movies out there. You know, because with this whole kind of back and forth flirtation that they got going on with Peter Parker and MJ, of course played by Zendaya, you never have this moment where it gets stupid. Or where they get into an argument with each other because they simply just didn't communicate. You know, there's a build up here, and it doesn't feel forced, and it doesn't feel like they have to have that moment where they have the big fight, so that they can get back together and you can root for them even more.
But in the last movie, I felt like she was the weird chick, but she knew what she was doing, and she just liked messing with people. And this one, I got more of a like, oh no, she's on the spectrum. That's what's going on with her.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. I just thought like she's kind of a nerdy chick just like they are, and she just didn't have social skills like they did, and she just coped the best way she could.
There's a lot of times
being a smart ass.
Some of it was her being a smart ass, and some was her just insisting on inserting something inappropriate, where it's like, man, nobody was even talking to you. Yeah. That's okay. What you're doing, you're doing that because you can't help it. Yeah. I see what's happening.
I guess I like that character better than you did this time around. Because and like I said, maybe because I just felt like she had more. She has more interaction other than just talking shit to Peter Parker and his friends. They go in and they address the aftermath of the Thanos snap. You know, they introduce it in a humorous way, the fallout from that. There's a funny scene at the very beginning of the film where they show you how the snap just affected all these kids in high school. And of course, being high school kids, they don't give a. They make fun of it. They're stupid about it. They do dumb things. They actually have a running joke with the kids in their ages, because some kids come back and they're the same age, or some kids got older. There's a lot of running jokes about who got uglier, who got cuter, at that time. So it's, I thought that they are, now, at some point down the line, because they talk about how people's marriages were ruined from this.
Or trying to go back to your old apartment. Because Aunt May's in a group, a support group for people who didn't have a place to live because you came back and say 5 years has gone by for us and that's not your house anymore.
Oh yeah, they put fine ass Aunt May in a group home somewhere. He put out a halfway house. Yeah, she's which is cool because that explains a lot about. I'm not going to say what, but if you know the traditional version of Aunt May, it kind of it's a cool lead up to what she is. With this younger version that they have of her. I will say the only weird thing is that everybody conveniently, all our main characters kind of went away at the same time, Yeah. So that is something that still is, all right, that's a little too convenient for what you have for this movie here, but at least you're addressing that, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. What was funny was leading up to this movie, everybody was talking about like, well, what about the high school? They're going to come back and some of these kids are older.
Yeah.
What are they going to do about that? As if the people working on these movies are too stupid to think of that.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
Yeah, we know. We worked this out. We got it together. Now, sit down somewhere.
Yeah, the people really get mad about that too. Oh, you just going to bring people back? You ain't going to explain this shit? Bitch, the movie ain't even out yet. Come on, man. I was looking forward to very much this Spider-Man Nick Fury team up right here.
Yeah.
And ever since we had Nick Fury hanging out with the Avengers, long before we got these Spider-Man movies, one of my dreams of bringing Spider-Man here was to see him like actually interact with Nick Fury one day. Mm-hmm. Nick Fury calling him for missions and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And now that it's happened, it's not too cool.
No.
Now listen, again, this is where I think we differ because for me, it works for me in the movie. Because I do, like what we saw in the trailer. I did have fun seeing Nick Fury being that black uncle.
Yeah.
Or even that black dad who ain't putting up with no bullshit.
I mean, I'm just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, sir.
Bitch, please, you've been to space.
But he goes from, that's that black daddy right there. And I like that. But he goes from being black daddy to just being a bully. My man turns into like the Joe Jackson of superheroes. Get your ass out there and be Spider-Man, and we got a problem. I'm gonna lock your ass in the closet somewhere. Always beating Peter down with that one good eye. They just made him from being he's definitely not no mentor. He's like, I ain't got time for that shit. He lets Peter know I'm not no Iron Man. I ain't Tony. I'm not your daddy. I'm here to get a job done, and that's what I'm here to do. But like I said, there were times when Peter just trying to be a kid, and he would tell Peter straight up, I don't give a how old you are. I need you to do something right now because you're the only thing that I got. And I like that he didn't really coddle to Peter. I thought that was cool. And at first, when I thought he was getting really, really too pushy and being too much of a bully, at some point in the film, they explain what's happening with that. And I was like, you know what? And that's one of the good things about the movie. The movie is very story-oriented to where everything ties back together. There's not anything in this movie that happens that is a loose end.
No. And as much as I was telling you how disappointed I was with it, I will say that I enjoyed the second half of the movie much more than the first half because that's when things start to come together. You start finding out real motivations, the action kicks in, what's serious about it, and it's very clever in what it put together. Once you get the reveal, it shows how it's pulling from things that happened several movies ago. Yeah. It's another one of those, like, if you have been watching them all, you're going to miss it.
Yeah. No, really.
But it's done in a way that's clever and a humorous wink at the audience, like, huh? Yeah. Remember that? You're like, all right, that was good.
Yeah. They're saying why they pull some sleight of hand over here. While you looking at the right hand, left hand is around. Poor London still getting picked on.
I know.
They still blowing up the London Bridge. If I was, if I was in London, I would tear that shit down. Because I'm not gonna give somebody a chance to come in here and just mess that up. Because everybody tries to blow that up in every movie, from terrorists to aliens.
I feel like Tokyo would look at London now and go like, you see how it feels.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that will come across as a disappointment when they first walk onto the screen is Mysterio. People are like, oh, no, not him. Shit, out of anybody, I was expecting him to bring it. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I will say that, you know what? My problem with him is that when he first comes on, he is dry as When he appears, it looks like he could care less about what he's doing. And that's the thing about it, because we look at him and we say, look, we know you can act. You just don't want to right now. While he's saying his line, he's looking at things and looking at holograms like right here. And he got this look on his face like, I can't believe y'all got me saying this dumb shit right here. Because he'll talk about these, and it is crazy shit. Because he's talking about his world being destroyed by these elementals. Mm-hmm. And the whole time he's talking about his family and his world being gone, he's just bored. You didn't deserve your world if you got that attitude. Oh, no, they're attacking. Y'all right? Fuck, y'all didn't even want it anyway. I mean, listen.
But it's Mysterio, so
man, look.
You don't believe anything.
Man, this dude,
The science division had a technical name. We just called them elementals. They first materialized on my Earth many years ago. I was part of the last battalion left trying to stop them. All we did was delay the inevitable.
They killed my family and everybody I know. There was nothing we could do. You could wake the fuck up is what you could do.
You should have won a Jake Gyllenhaal robot.
Yeah. But there's a point where he starts to bond with Peter Parker. And I got to tell you, man, he is great as Mysterio. He's having a he's having a great time with it. And like I say, before you guys start criticizing me and talking about why you hating on Jake, you know, just you have to see the movie because it comes around that he really is having a great time with this role. You have to hear our spoiler review that we'll do sometime later next week to really comprehend what we're telling you here. But it really does, something happens when he comes around Peter where he just wakes up, man, and he embraces Quentin Beck as Mysterio. He embraces this relationship, where he becomes a new mentor and big brother to Peter. And the scenes that they have together is where he's at his best. But as Mysterio, after his whole connection with Peter, at that point he embraces everything. And Jake Gyllenhaal, for me, I would see the movie again just for him.
When Fury asked me to come up here and see how you were doing, he felt bad about snapping at you.
Really?
You guys do have sarcasm on this earth, right?
Well, maybe if you had some emotion behind your shit, I could understand.
I couldn't tell because
How
I
you
couldn't see your
feeling?
face.
Turn around, run away from all this, and then there's another part of me that knows what we're about to fight. What's at stake?
Puts his hand around him like, hey, wait, what are you doing, man?
What? I thought.
I thought we had a moment.
I'm sorry. You gave me that look.
There are moments here where it feels like the Saturday morning cartoon here. You know, there's a Saturday morning cartoon in general. And I mean that in the best way. This is from Spectacular Spider-Man. You will get the feeling that this is, man, they kind of captured the spirit of everything that should be happening at this moment.
Well, I'll say it this way. It's not so much that it felt more, I was like wanting it to be, oh, you got to be more like the comic book, you got to be more like the cartoon. It's just that in the first half, there are some action sequences, some big ones. And yet I found them kind of dull. But in the second half, the stakes are higher, more cards are on the table. So not only is the action better, but it delivers the thing that you were there for.
How about, hey, you know what, Martin? How about Mary Jane? She fine, right?
You mean Aunt May?
God damn it, I'm all flustered here. Shit. I just ruined that. Zendaya takes her mask off and she's Aunt May. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean to ruin it for you. God damn it. Marissa Tomei. I like Marissa Tomei because if you've seen the last movie, you know that she and if you watch a trailer, you know that she knows Spider-Man's secret. She knows everything about him, and I think that works well. Those two, she's younger. So even though, look, she's in her 40s, late 40s, maybe she's 50 now, she still has, I think, this really close relationship with Peter, more than probably, like a 60 to 75-year-old woman would.
Man, I don't know. I didn't get the impression it was more or less.
Well, I think the reason why is because one of the things that you never see the older Aunt May do, something you can't really talk about, is
We're going on dates.
Going on dates, man. Her and Marissa Tomei and Aunt May and Happy Hogan, played by Jon Favreau.
That's the photo you're gonna show him. Did Jon Favreau do something to you?
Hey, that's the photo they put out there.
You did that because you're jealous.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I'm looking at Aunt May, man. What you see in that big, hungry motherfucker anyway? I love, this is what I mean by it, because she's younger. She does things I'm not saying that an older woman like Aunt May can't go on dates, especially these days. But, it's kind of funny that Peter is sitting there and he sees what's going on between his Aunt May and his new kind of foster guardian right now, whatever, like Happy Hogan. And there's moments he's looking at them. He's straight up just saying, "You f***ing my aunt." He wants to know, and I like that.
But see, to you that's shocking. But with the old Aunt May, she was about to marry Dr. Octopus.
She was,
yeah, and he was having to live with that.
Even people
what? She got around back then, and the old Aunt May got around too. So.
Well, I don't know, man. I like what they've done with this and that little bit of a subplot that they have here with Aunt May. I thought that was actually probably again something that I thought
cute.
Yeah, it's cute and it's something that, like I said, I just feel like this whole thing. I don't. Maybe I just think Marissa Tomei is cooler. You know, I don't know, but I really do like their interactions with each other. The humor does not always work. It doesn't all, there's definitely, and I that's one of the things that I've been telling people. When they say, do you have any complaints about the film? Yeah, I got a few, of course. The humor in here sometimes, it feels like an episode of Saved by the Bell goes to Europe or something.
It does.
There's
a lot of little jokes and gags that aren't that funny and don't add anything.
Yeah.
They got one of my favorite comedians, JB Smoove, in here. But most of what he says is not funny. And when it came down to it, I was like, he didn't even need to be here.
It's just confusing having JB Smoove in the movie.
Yeah.
Not only did he not have to be here, but at one time, they don't acknowledge that JB Smoove was actually Peter Parker's driving instructor.
Put your hands at 9 and 3.
I thought it was 10 and 2.
It was 10 and 2, but now it's 9 and 3. You're gonna lose 5 points for that.
What?
You lose 5 points for that.
I thought they were about to hit something. But he is not the same character in this movie.
He could be. It's a regular thing for somebody who teaches English to also teach gym or driving.
Okay. No, I can deal with that. Then hey, I retract everything I just said. But I thought it was kind of cool that they, and you know what, and that's the case. I like that they kind of connect characters from other media, like shorts or from past movies. Martin Starr is, I forgot his name, Roger something, Mr. Roger something, but he is they hint that he's not very good at going on field trips. They hinted that he actually couldn't save a kid that got killed on that last trip. Right. So I said, man, you know what? From that joke and far, saying like, damn, and that joke and far from, from Homecoming, I said, you know what? I want to see his interaction with these kids more. I want to see what he does that almost gets them killed. And honestly, they don't do too much with it. And I was looking forward to the character being more of a presence here too, because that character is actually from another movie from a long time ago. I think that this is a deleted scene, but he was a college student in The Incredible Hulk.
Can't believe you actually came.
Oh, right.
Do we know each other?
Are a hero. Don't hide from your power.
What the f is wrong with you?
Those with those same glasses, it makes his eyes look like giant tangerines.
I know, man. No, they've confirmed that is the same character.
Okay.
I thought that was cool, but it's just that a lot of his humor is just he is a teacher from a TV sitcom. I love Peter Parker in the movie. I'm with everybody else out there that says that Tom Holland is their favorite Spider-Man. At this point, I'm completely with that. And I like the conflict that he's going through in this film, man. Because even though Tony Stark is gone and he's dead, he's everywhere telling Peter, yeah, you ain't shit. You ain't me. Everybody keeps telling you you're going to be me, you ain't me. And you do kind of feel bad for him because everybody expects him to live up to being the next Iron Man because he was so close to him. They want Spider-Man to be the next, the next big savior of the world, especially with everybody gone in different places now. But there are moments in here also where I say, like, when you look at Peter, and as much as I like this kid, there are moments here where I just have to say, God damn, you stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You are the dumbest genius I have ever seen. And I don't mind him being dumb because he's a teenager.
Being naive.
But I feel like the movie makes him dumber than he needs to be just so they can keep pushing certain plot elements.
But there's something he does, or a few things he does.
Yeah.
Where you're like, come on, man. I mean, even that scene you showed where he's like, I know I'm supposed to save the world, but there's this girl I like. And I'm like, even if you're a kid, you have to know that, hey, man, one thing is infinitely more important than the other. Like, yeah, I know you want that girl, but this does require a bit more attention than what you're trying to give it right
Martin,
now.
we're talking about a world where there's so many things going on, and teenagers are talking about, yeah, but what about my likes? What about my views? I mean, I get it.
I get that for a typical teenager, but Spider-Man is all about the power and the responsibility.
This is a Spider-Man where, they've already done. I'm obsessing over being responsible. I think we've kind of gone away from that. A lot of people said they want to see Spider-Man as a kid, and I
don't want him to obsess over it, but I want him to have some of that. I mean, without that, he's not really Spider-Man.
Okay, I don't know. I guess I enjoyed seeing. I'll tell you what it is, man. For me, there's been a lot of and this is what Marvel does well. There's been a lot of superhero movies, including Spider-Man movies, where they just have not got the character down. Mm-hmm. And I believe making this character have real world problems. See, that's one of the things that I've always loved about Spider-Man. When there's stuff going on around the world, he still has these things that are happening with him. Him being Peter Parker throughout half this movie, not being Spider-Man, made that a real character for me. And I haven't seen that in a lot of these movies, especially Spider-Man movies as of late. And Marvel has done that very well, though.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying, and I agree with it for the most part. But also a thing that makes him attractive is the struggles he has, the real world struggles that we can all identify with. But his struggle is just I want this girl to like me while he's on a trip to Europe. It's like, for the most part, his life is grand, and without that bit of tragedy there, then it's hard to identify with him as much. It's just like, oh, I'm watching this kid at the time of his life. He's got one small problem. And we all can see that it's not really a problem because we know that she's been leaning towards him since the last movie.
Okay, I definitely see more to him than that, but like I said, we'll disagree on that, or agree to disagree on that. I know even I can't say disagree. I can't even say agree to you.
Yeah, it sounds like we're not even doing that.
Martin, we're gonna disagree and disagree.
We disagree to disagree.
But I say that this is on an Ant-Man level. It might be bigger than Ant-Man. It might be better than Ant-Man. But it has some of the problems that Ant-Man had that apply to it here.
Sure.
Also, I will say that the stingers, there's two stingers are after credit scenes in here, and they both are. I think that they're great because, again, one actually that is something that's going to just it's going to play a big part, and not only what they do with the next Spider-Man movie, but possibly, if they follow through with what they're doing, possibly the whole cinematic universe that they have.
It's one of those things where throughout this movie I was like, okay, this is a nice one-off story, and that stinger, it's a game changer.
Yeah.
It puts your jaw on the floor. You're like, okay, now everything I've seen, wow, what are they going to do next? It's like as if this crew got fired and said, all right, well, we're going to paint this into a corner and let's see the next guy get out of this. We're going to pull out all the copper wiring, change the passwords. now you deal with it.
Yeah, no, he's not lying. He is telling the truth. These last stingers that they show, the last after credit thing, they've usually been bullshit.
They've been such bullshit.
You know how mad I was when I waited just to see that ant play the drums.
That you kept seeing in the trailer.
Yeah, that you saw in the trailer. Yeah. I was like, come on, man, you're killing me here. They don't do anything like that. It's not as big a deal as what they show in the mid-credits, but it does tie back into the story.
It makes you rethink everything you've seen, but also it makes you wonder what's coming in the next phase of these movies.
Yeah, and it's a little goofy itself too.
Yeah, it's goofy.
And I will understand the lighter tone. Because I completely get you, Martin. I understand the lighter tone. When you come off from seeing Endgame, it's going to throw some people off. I understand that people feel that way. I fall into the camp of people where I just enjoyed seeing these characters. I like this version of Spider-Man. I like what they're doing with him. I think Tom Holland is maybe I'm just endeared to him. But as we mentioned, not everything works in the movie. But nevertheless, man, for me, the more I thought about it, and especially with some of the performances like that you have with Samuel Jackson and Jake Gyllenhaal, I do want to see this again. So I'm giving this a very low full price. Probably that there at the peak of a matinee.
Yeah, this movie just didn't hit me the way the first one did. And sure, I was disappointed that they decided to go with so much more of a humorous tone after Endgame, but more disappointed that it was such a comedy that the comedy wasn't that strong. And my further disappointment was the lack of complexity of the story and characters. Yes, the loose ends are wrapped up because they kept it very simple, almost too simple. Not enough dramatic tension or pathos. Now, when it does in the second half, when it kicks in and it gets good, where we have the drama and the action, it is so much better. But ultimately, what it comes down to is, we watched that scene with him just flipping over the fire. It doesn't really do much with that. And it was a real man, I wish it was there. Whereas the first movie was so happy at how well they put it all together, and I gave it a high full price. This for me was just a flat matinee. It's one where I've seen it. I'm glad I did. I got enjoyment out of it, but I'm not inspired to go watch it a second time.
Oh, and they let you down, Martin. I feel like, if Spider-Man can't do it for you, then there's no hope. Oh. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, and if you really want to show me some love, swing on over to doubletoasted.com. Over there, you'll find the long-form version of this video, along with the live streams that we do almost every night of the week. Support us at dtmerch.com, and remember to always stay toasty.